this is Katrina, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on my progress with CareerStep. So I have finished the program. I am so excited. I did pass. The ending of the CareerStep program is quite intense. It took me a lot longer than I anticipated from the beginning, but I had a lot of life events happen. As you all know, I had surgery done. Between going to surgery and the physical therapy afterwards, and just kind of slowing down and having to take my time opening and closing these huge books. Unfortunately, it did make it to where it took a lot longer than I anticipated. But either way, I pushed through it, and I have my certificate from CareerStep saying that I have graduated from them. So now I can go ahead and sit for the CPC, which is amazing, and or the CCS, or any of those good little certificates to get your credentials. But with the CareerStep program, at the ending, you have to take a final, and right before the final, you have to do the practicum. The practicum took me about 2.5 weeks longer than I anticipated. However, the first 2 weeks, I totally wasn't doing it right. I pretty much was spending way too many hours on each medical record because I definitely wanted to make sure when I hit the submit button, I had 100% right. I apparently was doing that wrong. I was calling into CareerStep trying to get help, but CareerStep has decided not to do their phone service anymore, I guess, because I could never get a hold of them. And unfortunately, after frustration and hitting like the Facebook channels and forums, someone had said, "Hey, have you tried the instructor chat?" And I was like, well, it's a distant learning. I would rather listen to someone and explain what, I'm having an issue with and have them explain it back. But she's like, just ask the instructor. It's a lot faster. With the phone calls, CareerStep decided apparently to take the phones down, and I don't even know if they went down. I think you just have to wait. Okay, so when you call CareerStep, it's like 2 minutes of hold, and then they tell you to leave a message, which was kind of odd. But they started a scheduling thing where you schedule an appointment for a callback, and then you spend like 20 or 30 minutes talking to an instructor. So you have to pretty much get all your thoughts and questions and everything accumulated for your scheduled meeting. I still don't care for it. I wouldn't do it because it was 2 to 3 weeks out, and I did complain about it. But the instructor chat is actually quite nice because you can actually do your little Control F and hit do Control F and type in page blah blah blah, like 230, or practicum question this. And if someone's asked a question on that day, it'll pull it up, so you don't actually have to ask it yourself, or you can go in some of the previous days and do a search, which is really amazing. So what I was doing is I would ask my question, and it typically takes them between, I'd say, 10 to sometimes as long as 45 minutes to get an answer, unless they have a meeting in the middle of the day. Then, of course, after the meeting. But that actually sped things up for me quite a bit, instead of just waiting on hold and then calling back in. Because of how their hold system worked on the phone, you would have to continuously keep on redialing, holding, and then redial again and hold, and it was just really a fiasco with that. But doing the instructor chat, it helped a bit because of the fact that I had a lot of questions while you're doing the practicum and all that. But one of the instructors finally told me, "Hey, you're spending way too much time on each medical record. You need to only spend at least 30 to 45 minutes per medical record and move on to the next one." I was like, oh my God, I can't do that because I'm going to get them all wrong. Well, it made sense on how they do it, and the practicum's huge. There is a ton of medical records, tons. So when you start doing it that way, and you kind of get your mindset around how you're supposed to be coding, somehow it actually works a lot better that way, because you don't really in-depthly get involved in each medical record. You just kind of skim through it, figure out what they're doing, what the doctor's diagnosed, what the doctor says, and you pull those codes and you put them down. And I think I was trying to get my head wrapped around the whole visit and really, get involved in it. And you don't need to do that. You just pretty much need to get the gist of it, move on to the next one. And I did. I got the practicum done. I was so excited when I was finished. And then I think I finished it on a Wednesday night. I had a doctor's appointment on Thursday, so I know I wasn't going to be able to go back and start the final on Friday, because you need to have 48 straight hours to do it. So once you start the once you start the final, you need to be done 48 hours from the time you enter it. So you can't, spend a couple of hours on it and then stop it and then go back to it and they, take those time frames that you went back and put them all together. No. You actually, once you start it, you have 48 hours from that point. So the timer is on, you got to just do it. So I decided to go ahead and start it on Tuesday because, of course, my husband's home on the weekend and my daughter is. So I went ahead and I wanted to do it on Monday, but I woke up with a really bad headache. So I was like, you know what? I need to be able to focus. It's the final. And if you fail the final, you have to wait 2 weeks before you can retake it. Time is money. I don't want to spend any more time or lose anything that I've gained doing that. So I was like, you know what, I'll prolong it by 1 day. So I started on Tuesday morning, and I completed it Wednesday evening. And I worked on it from about 7 a.m. until about 6 o'clock on Tuesday. And then Wednesday I stopped at about 6:30. And when I hit the submit button, I was thinking I was going to get an email letting me know if I passed or didn't pass. It's not like that. It sat there, doing its little scoring thing, little round circle for like 30 seconds. And I thought, oh my God, it's timed out. All my answers are gone. No, thank God it didn't. Apparently I was grading it and it said I passed. I was so overjoyed. I started crying. I was like, oh my God, I passed. So that was amazing. As soon as I passed, I went ahead and, of course, printed out my passing score. I was excited. But then you go on to depending on which certification or credential you want to get, you'll either have to sign up through AHIMA or AAPC for membership, okay? I decided I want to go for the CPC first, and so I went ahead, signed up through AAPC. As soon as you get your membership number, you email Graduate Services at CareerStep, and you give them your member number through AAPC, and they go ahead and load your voucher because the actual first exam through AAPC or whatever, or AHIMA, depending on what credential you're going for, but some of those credentials CareerStep will actually pay for. And so what you do is you send it to them, and I'm going for the CPC, but once you send them your information, they automatically load a amount of money or whatever on AAPC site or AHIMA's, and then you go back on AAPC or AHIMA site, and then you schedule your own exam, okay? So for me, I emailed CareerStep. CareerStep went in there, did the voucher. I think it took CareerStep like 24 hours. It was pretty amazing. It might have been 48, but I'm almost positive it was like the next day that it showed up on AAPC site that I have the exam has been paid for. I just have to pick what exam I want to schedule. So I went on there, and the exam that was in my area, I had missed it by like a day and a half or like 2 days. However long it took CareerStep to actually load it is the time frame I lost it, because they only have so many seats available in each location. And when I went to finally go on there and actually schedule it, it was filled. So I was like, okay, not a big deal. I'm going for the next one. And I really want to do it ASAP because everything's fresh in my mind. So I went ahead and scheduled for the CPC exam, and I did it in Texas. It was like about an hour and a half away from me. And I went ahead during I think it was like 2 weeks from the time frame I was done with CareerStep to the time frame the CPC exam was. And during those 2 weeks, I went ahead and purchased the mock practice test through AAPC. You get like 3 of them for $79. And then I also purchased I think it's called CPC medical training, whatnot. I can't remember. But I'll post a link down below that you can click on and actually sign up for it. For the price, it's amazing because the AAPC's mock practice exams are 50 or 60 questions each. And they are, you get 3 of them, and they are like $80, $79.95. Now with the CPC training one that I found, you go on it looks like it's a book that they send it. It's not. It's a download. It's a zip file. You get it. They have like a little itty bitty study thing on there. They have a great anatomy, like terminology thing on there. I was quite impressed. And then some study tips. And then it gives you 150 questions, which is equivalent to what AAPC sells you. because they give you 3 of them. That's like 50 questions each. So 3 times 50 is 150, or you can do this other one, which is 150. Now, with the CPC training one, it's $40. It's like $39 and some change. So $40, you get 150 questions, and it also gives you some study tips and some just some different information on anatomy and all that good stuff. So I went ahead and purchased the APC 3 mock ones as well as the CPC training one. I also did become a member with the CCO club, and I did their 3, which theirs wasn't too bad. I really like the CPC training one. I like the APCs, but I spent about, I think I spent 3.5 days doing the bubble technique in my book, in the CPT book and the CM book. Not the CM book, excuse me. So in the CM book, all I did was really highlight my guidelines in the beginning of each one and make really good notes. And then in the CPT book, I did the bubble, highlight, underline thing that Heather actually gives webinars on, and I love it. So what I ended up doing is the first 3 days, I bubble, highlighted, underlined my CPT book. Then I went through Heather's notes, and I will link that below. I think hers was $50 or $60. Oh, it might have been $55. Anyway, between $50 and $60, and she has webinars. I love webinars, okay? So what I did is I sat there with my CPT book, and I listened to her go through the entire thing, and I highlighted and I made extra notes and did that, and I found that to be very, very beneficial. Now, I accidentally didn't do a lot of the highlights on the modifiers, and so I'll explain in the next video why that was such a big case. But anyway, so I have the CPT book done, and I did that with Heather's notes, and I did the CM book with the CCO notes. I don't know if Heather actually does the CM book, but it was exciting. I'm done. I've got my books done, and it's just a matter of passing the CPC. And then after I pass my CPC, I'm going to go for the CCS, which that's where the Applied PCS kind of comes into with CareerStep, and I will explain that in the next video as well. But one of the main reasons I went with CareerStep is because of the fact that with the amount of anatomy, medical terminology, and I think it's, anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, the amount of extensive coursework that they give you allows you to sit through a HEMA for the CCS. Not a lot of the schools out there allow you to sit for the CCS without that extensive knowledge. So I'm definitely going to sit for that no matter what. But anyway, that will be on my next video. I'll explain what happened next. But for this one, just want to let you know I have passed. I have completed the entire CareerStep medical billing and coding with Applied PCS. Well, the Applied PCS I actually haven't done. That some people do, some people don't. And I'll explain that in the next video as well. But anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, bye!